Gnar has finally entered the meta, and in this video, I'll teach you how to master this comp by going over the build, what items and augments to take, how to play before, during, and after level 7, and then I'll go over some in-depth positioning examples. The build is very linear, as you are reliant on synergies like Hacker as well as Gadgeteen. Therefore, we have 8 core units for the level 8 board, but we are chasing Gnar 3-star for this comp, and we will be slow rolling at level 7 to hit him, and any 3-star. We will be doing that with this board. Since Nunu is a legendary, we will likely never hit him at level 7, and we drop down to 3 Gadgeteen and play Pranksters instead there. The goal with this comp is to send Gnar into the backline to take down enemy carries, while having a strong tank with Annie to tank while Gnar deals all the damage. The rest of our units are mostly tanks and synergy bots. Your comp can change slightly based on the augments you get, and I'll cover that later in the video. And the best non-hero augments for this comp are any support augments for the units on the level 8 board, as well as carry augments for Gnar, Nunu, Annie, and Poppy. Gnar is our main carry, so we prioritize making items for him first. He has one core item, and that is a healing item. Since he is a melee carry, he'll be taking a lot of splash damage. Therefore, we need healing to keep him alive. The best item is BT, as we get a giant shield on him. Hodge can also work, as we will still get some healing from that, but it's not as great as BT. And the third option is Gunblade. It's the worst of the 3 healing items, but if you can't make BT or Hodge, then you make Gunblade. The second item wants to be Last Whisper. This item is needed to make sure we can get through the tanks, because if we get stuck on a high armor target, chances are we will not kill many units, and will take a giant loss. The third item can depend a little on what you need. It can be another damage item, a mixed item, or it can be another healing item. These are items like Titan's Resolve, IE, Deathblade, QSS, and Hodge. Titans and QSS are mixed items. They give more damage while also giving survivability. IE and Deathblade give us pure damage, and Hodge can be built if you didn't build BT as your healing item. Most of the time you will go with Titans or IE, which means you just slam whichever one of those you can make first, without disrupting your first and second item. After you made TF items, you want to make tank items. Our best tank is Annie, especially since you will 3-star her in most games. You will make whichever tank items you can on her, as you want to make these as soon as possible to save HP. Her best tank items are Sunfire Cape, Dragon's Claw, Redemption, Bramble Vest, and Protector's Vow. Other tank items can also work, but those are the best. Since you get items from the Gadgeteen trait, let's cover how to use them in this section. Gadgeteen gives you 1 item at 3 and 2 items at 5. Additionally, you deal more damage and take less damage per item the Gadgeteens have equipped. Note that this works with components as well. Therefore, we want to avoid itemizing our non-Gadgeteen units. In the later stages of the game, you will have 3 items on Annie and 3 on Gnar, so you will place the Gadgeteen items on Nunu or Poppy most of the time, for the extra damage reduction mostly. Let's go through each item. BT, Titans, GS, Hodge, and RFC all goes on Gnar, while he has open slots. Then they go on Annie or LeBlanc. Warmogs, Spark, and Sunfire always go on Annie, then Poppy. Sojin goes on anyone with an open slot. There are no great holders of this item besides LeBlanc, so if you have her 2-starred in the mid game, you can put it on her. Shroud goes on any champion. You want to make sure you cheese with this one, meaning you place it right before the fight starts to make sure the enemy carry gets shrouded. If you get a spatula, you have no great options, so I would generally avoid going for them on the carousels. But if you are stuck with a spatula, you have 2 good options: Oxforce and Admin. Oxforce makes Annie more tanky as we activate the 2-piece with a spatula. The other option is Admin. Make sure to check what the Admin trait is before you make the spatula into the emblem, as it will only be useful if it's a team-wide buff. You will put this on Poppy as the emblem counts as an item there, and therefore makes her more tanky. The best non-hero augments for this comp are Gadgeteen Heart or Emblem, Ancient Archives so we can get 5 Gadgeteen early, Thrill of the Hunt, Portable Forge, Hacker Heart or Emblem, Component Grab Bag, Jewel Lotus, Knife's Edge, Ascension, Second Win, Celestial Blessing, Trade Sector, Golden Ticket, and Sunfire Board. I mentioned a lot of augments there, and the best ones out of those are Gadgeteen Heart or Emblem, Ancient Archives, Ascension, Trade Sector, Thrill of the Hunt, and Celestial Blessing. If all that info was a lot to take in, then check out the cheat sheet for this comp. It's available for patrons and YouTube members. Here is the Corki cheat sheet from last set, so you know what to expect for the Gnar reroll cheat sheet that is available right now. The carousel priority for this comp is Bow, Sword, Chain, then Glove. And the best opener for this comp is to play Gadgeteen with any AD carry. But some other openers that also work are Lucian with Infiniteam, and Draven with defenders. On stage 1-4, you can pre-level to 4 if you are not sitting on any 1-cost pairs. This way we have a chance of hitting Gnar already on stage 2-1, which gives us direction and a lot of early game power. Once we have found our comp, we need to make items. Even though a healing item is core for Gnar, it's usually not good to make it on stage 2, since there are almost no other comps that need BT. Instead, it's better to make it Last Whisper first, as almost any AD carry can use that item. Since we are slow rolling at level 7, the goal is to be level 7 with 50 gold or more on stage 4-1. Therefore, we can play the early game however we want. If you want to learn more about how to play the early game, then check out my guide where I go in depth on that subject. After the Krugs round, you should have more direction towards a comp, and the general requirements to play Gnar is to have at least either Last Whisper or a healing item, and have one component for the other item. Additionally, we really want to have 3 gadgeteen in already, so that we can get gadgeteen specific augments on stage 3-2. During the early and mid game, it's also important to hold on to at least one Lulu. She will be sitting on our bench for almost the entire game until we find Nunu, but we need her to activate 5 gadgeteen in the late game. If you are weak in the mid game, you can roll a bit at level 6 to stop the bleeding, but most of the time it's best to wait until level 7 and then just roll a bit there instead. On stage 4-1, you want to be level 7 with 50 gold. Here we start slow rolling, meaning you're rolling up to 50 gold every single turn. We will be slow rolling with this board. Here you can change Echo into any other unit, but Prankster is great for survivability in Gnar, and I usually play Jinx until I hit Echo. If you get +1 gadgeteen, play 5 gadgeteen and put the emblem on Shen to make it more tanky. If you get +1 hacker, you will usually not drop any champion, as 4 hacker gives Gnar more healing, but you can also play a threat like Asol instead of LeBlanc if you need the anti-heal. Our 3-star priority when slow rolling is Gnar, then Annie. Both are important, and do not chase any other 3-stars like Shen, Pyke, or LeBlanc 3-star, as they are not part of the win condition for this comp, and you will likely just waste gold and HP on them, as you will hit Gnar 3-star later. Once you're only missing around 2 to 3 Gnars, you can roll down and try to hit him. This is the biggest power spike our team gets besides activating 5 gadgeteen. But keep in mind that Nunu can be hard to hit even at level 8, so we need gold for that too. So if you are very healthy, then it's better to wait with the roll down. At the latest, once you hit 2 lives, which is usually around 30 HP or lower, you need to roll down to hit your 3-stars. Because if you drop any lower, you're just one bad matchup away from getting knocked out. And once you hit Gnar 3-star, start looking to go level 8 to find Nunu. Once you hit level 8, you will start looking for Nunu. Again, check up on your HP before you make any drastic decisions about spending gold. If you are healthy, you might even make it to level 9 before you have to start worrying about hitting Nunu. But in most games, you will have to roll down to 0 gold every single turn at level 8 until you hit Nunu, as the power spike is just incredibly large. Again, if you get +1 gadgeteen, you will play this board where you drop Lulu for Nunu and you add an Echo for True Prankster. If you get +1 hacker, you drop Pyke and play Echo over him instead. Besides that, if you hit level 9, you will add an Echo assuming you have no other emblems. And if you do, the 9th unit will usually be a threat like Fiddlesticks most of the time in those cases. General positioning with this comp looks like this, where we have Pyke towards the middle on the outskirt of our frontline. This is to make sure he ults quicker to CC the enemy carries. Annie is closer to the center as she is our main tank. We want to make sure that she is within the range of most backliners. Sometimes if we have Annie on the wrong side, she will not walk far enough towards the enemy carry as she has 2 attack range, and it will result in important units like Gnar getting targeted before her, which is terrible for us. Always place Gnar in the hacker room as we need to send him to the backline. Start by having him in the middle like in the picture on screen, and once there are only a few seconds left, move him to the right or left side so that he lands on the correct side of where the enemy carries are. Now moving on to some in-depth examples. Against the first guy, the big threat is Ezreal and Zamira. Here we need to pick a side. Usually Zamira is the biggest threat in this comp, so we choose to land on her. Pyke is also on the opposite side of Zamira to stun her with his dash. Both LeBlanc and Lulu are on the right side to avoid proccing Fiddle's ultimate, as we don't want his CC to go off multiple times and stun our Gnar. Against the second guy, the big threat is Lucian and Misfortune. Since Lucian is usually the biggest threat of the two, we position Gnar on the same side as him. We also have Nunu, Poppy, and Pyke have Lucian as their farthest away to make sure they also deal damage to Lucian. Lulu and LeBlanc are on the right side to hopefully make MF ult away from the Gnar. Against the third guy, the big threat is Kai'Sa. The game plan is pretty similar to the previous matchup. Send Gnar on the same side as the enemy carry, make sure Annie is within range of both Kai'Sa and MF, and then have Pyke, Nunu, and Poppy have Kai'Sa as their farthest away, while having Lulu and LeBlanc on the right side to draw the MF's ult towards them. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want cheat sheets for any of my comp guides, they're available for YouTube members and patrons, and links to those are down in the description. And if you want to get better at TFT, then join the Discord. We got over 9,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.